Hey guys, I'm Drago, and guess who's ill again? So it's been around 5 months since I posted this video where I remade my most stolen art piece. This piece was a sort of redraw of the cover of Into the Pit, where basically instead of using Spring Bonnie, I used Spring Trap. It's just a fun little thing I did a while ago and it ended up going everywhere. Like, so many people sort of knew about it, like more than I could even imagine. Don't know why it went so far, it's awful, but whatever. But yeah, I remade it for a video and I had a lot of comments on that video saying about what I should have done to make it better. Honestly, I still don't understand people saying that this one is better than the new one because there is not really much of a comparison there if you ask me. But I do understand what a lot of people said, mainly about the balls and the lighting. So today I thought it might be fun to go back and sort of fix the piece according to your comments. I hope you guys enjoy. Now actually, before we really get going on the drawing, I need to address this. There were a lot of comments thinking that either I stole from Into the Pit or official FNAF artwork stole from me. Either of those are true, neither of those statements are true. So in terms of me having stolen from Into the Pit, I basically did a redraw which was just inspired. It was fan art, no different than any other fan art anyone else makes about FNAF. I didn't claim to make the original at all. I even stated in the title of the original piece that it's Into the Pit, but you know, it's like I made sure to preface that this is using the style and the idea and the concept of the original Into the Pit cover. The most stolen art piece part comes from the fact that people stole my art. So yes, while I don't own the concept, I do own the art that I drew, and people were taking that and selling it on for their own profit, and that's where the most stolen part comes from. The other bit to clear up is that no official FNAF art has not stolen from me. These comments started around the time that Into the Pit game was leaked, and it obviously has this new cover to it, which is obviously inspired by the original cover of the book. Obviously, they own the concept, they own the rights, it's official, like, it's nothing to do with me. I simply made fan art of it. They haven't stolen from me at all. And like I said, mine is Spring Trap rather than Spring Bonnie. It's just sort of a fun mix-up of it. So yeah, I just wanted to clear those two things up since there were a lot of comments about that as well. And now let's actually get on with the drawing. The first thing I did was actually something that I wanted to do, and that was add a little bit more texture to Spring Trap himself. A lot of it was sort of lost in the shading, and I just wanted to make sure I added a little bit more and built it up a bit more so that when I went in and shaded this again with the new lighting, that texturing would really be on show. So I started off by just turning everything off that I didn't need anymore, so the old shading, the old lighting, all those layers I got rid of. And then I went in with a watercolour brush and started adding a bit more texture to Spring Trap. I turned the intensity of the textures on the brush up itself, and I basically just went in, added a few more shades, made some areas a bit more defined, and just really added a bit more grunge. Another thing I did was add a little bit of a dried blood texture around areas like his eyelids and eyes and stuff, just to give that idea of there actually being a person in there that died, you know, the spring lock actually happened. Usually something that I like to add on Spring Trap whenever I draw him, but I just didn't on this one for some reason. So I went back in and added that. Also, I'm sorry if I don't do much commentary on this video. Like I said, I'm quite ill again now, so yeah, I have no energy, so we'll see how this goes. And now it was on to probably the biggest critique of all the comments on this video. This is the thing that most comments said, and that is that the balls were too small. Some people even said they look like little gumballs, and honestly, I now want gumballs. Why can't I have some gumballs? But honestly, looking back at it, I have to agree, they are way too small. So I went in and I made them bigger. That's basically it. I started off by using the shape tool that Sai has to make a perfect circle. I scaled that circle to about what seemed right, but I bet people are now going to say they're too big, but that's fine, give me the engagement, it's fine. And I tried to place them around just by copy and pasting the circle, but it wasn't really working. I couldn't really get the randomness to it that I needed. So I sort of just traced around the circle with a sketch to get the perfect circle, and then just started layering those up and erasing the parts that wouldn't be visible, because that was just easier for me to comprehend it in my head. And the sketch was definitely important because it really just helped me lay the balls out and make sure that that the layers made sense and how each ball is resting on top of each other made sense and what's covered and what's visible made sense. This video is going to be full of innuendos about balls, by the way. Like, I don't know what you were expecting. Of course, as I went further back, I made the circle slightly smaller and smaller to get the idea of that perspective and it sort of being a 3D space where the balls are stretching back. And I would also obviously be using some blurring and stuff to get a focal point in there, but that would come on later on. Once I had the sketch in, I was going to freehand them, but I ended up using the size line work layer. The line work layer is a really helpful tool with Paint Tool SAI. I think both the first version and the second version has it. Basically, it's a line tool. Rather than you're drawing with your actual hand on your tablet or whatever, it's more like the sort of pen tools you get in a program like Adobe Illustrator, where you have points that you can place and then you can manipulate the line and curve it and stuff. It gives me a lot more control of the line, make sure everything is nice and circular, because I definitely was not able to get it done freehand. I went for the same colour of balls as last time, which was red, pink, green, yellow, 2 blues, whatever. This time, a difference I made though was I added a grungy texture over the top of them. So this was just using my watercolour brush on a blotch texture and putting the layers on overlay so that it matched itself to each colour nicely, and just sort of lightly splotted it around, and you know, it just made this nice sort of grungy texture which I think fit the piece overall. I then went into Intuos to do the lighting. Now, the second biggest thing in the comments was about the lighting being too light in the new piece. Everyone was saying they liked the old piece better because the lighting was way darker and it looked like Sprin was lurking in the dark and just his eyes were glowing. Now, while I think the old piece just doesn't really represent that very well, I do see what people are saying and I do agree. I've just gotten so used over the years to doing shading that's a lot brighter that it's sort of what I lean towards to now. So doing this darker shading was a little bit out of my comfort zone nowadays, but it was fun to try. However, this was getting towards the evening and I was starting to feel like absolute crap. I started to feel woozy and lightheaded and achy and my head was sore. And honestly, I was trying to do the lighting, but I just thought it was turning out absolutely awful. So what I decided to do was step away from it for the day and continue it the next morning. And boy, did I regret that. So usually I'd say that yes, if you think something isn't working very well and you are trying your best to do it in your art and it just looks awful and you think it looks bad, actually there's 2 things I can suggest. First of all, send it to someone else, let a fresh pair of eyes look over it. They may spot things that you can't see and they may also be able to see the good in it that you are then blind to. Because I find that I make pieces and I absolutely hate it and I've sort of looked at it for so long that I've become blind to what makes it good. And then everyone else is like, oh my god, that's so good, that's really cool, how did you do that? And I'm like, it's awful. It looks absolutely awful. But the thing is, it doesn't look bad, that's just me being blind to it. Very common in artists, honestly. So yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is to step away and take a break, because sometimes you need to refresh yourself. You going away for half an hour, leaving it for the day and go back the next day or whatever, you're coming back with a fresh set of eyes. You are refreshed, you are coming back to it after not having looked at it for a while, and this may help you spot things that have gone wrong, or it may help you realise this is not so bad. However, in my case, I woke up the next morning and I felt even worse. The illness had slapped me in the face. So yeah, the rest of all of this speed paint I've done while ill. I'm even recording this on the same day that I finished it. I was really struggling to focus. So many layers ended up involved in this. And I really didn't go the sort of conventional method that I usually do. Things just kind of went in a weird random order as I was doing it. I think it's because I hadn't done the rest of the piece in this session, so it was sort of confusing my brain a bit. But anyways, I did go for the darker lighting, so a darker layer overall over the top of it all. And I made it so while there was a slight bit of ambient light, the main light source was coming from his eye, so that he would be sort of lurking in the dark and only you could see his eyes glowing. But yeah, I really struggled with it. It took me ages to do. I mean, the recording itself isn't that long, it's only an hour long, but that's because I kept pausing it and walking away because I just couldn't focus. So all in all, this probably took me like 4 hours just to do all this lighting. The joys of being ill, man. But yeah, because I'm ill, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you all just watch, and hopefully it sort of makes sense what I'm doing. I can't really describe what I was doing because I was so sort of just out of it while doing it. But yeah, enjoy. Now to start off with, I did use a blue shade for all the lighting and stuff. That's a more neutral shade because I was going for a more neutral sort of light. But it sort of felt too cold almost. So I experimented with some different shades and I ended up on this sort of purpley pink shade, which of course fits quite well for Springtrap because William Afton, purple guy, you know, all that jazz. And I think it looked really nice on the tones that were already in the piece, especially on Springtrap himself. That sort of warmer type of shading really works for him. So yeah, I changed all the shading colours just using preserve opacity to the sort of pinky purpley shade. And the last thing was some effects, which was a vignette around the edge, doing the sort of focal point and doing the balls that are in the background soft focus, and adding some sort of sparkly dust particles that are floating around. And I think that's pretty much it. Alright, there we go. A remake of the remake of my most stolen art piece. I hope you guys that commented all those things are satisfied now. Honestly, I agreed with a lot of them in the end. Like I said before, sometimes I just get blind to what I'm doing while I'm drawing because I'm looking at it for so long. So I don't even notice these things, but then I put it out there and you're all a fresh pair of eyes that are looking at it again, and you can spot everything that I couldn't see. So I do appreciate your feedback. You know, it's the only way that I'm going to improve, and hopefully this is more to your liking. Springtrap is now no longer a giant, and he's no longer swimming in gumballs. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, maybe leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Turn on that bell to get notified when I upload, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!